River City Girls Zero is a revitalized 2022 joint production, developed by WayForward and published by WayForward and Arc System Works. It's a re-release of the 1994 Super Famicom release, Shin Neketsu Koha Kunio Tachi no Banka, which literally translates to The New Hot-Blooded Tough Guy, the Elegy of Kunio and Company. It's got its ups and downs, so let's get into it. I think the new flair that WayForward has thrown into this game is wonderful. It's always great to see older content get brought to the current generation, not just for novelty's sake, but for the preservation aspect of a game. Zero fits in right here. In addition, we can talk about the retro-styled anime intro that's jam-packed with style and panache. When it comes to the gameplay, the beat-em-up aspects can either be hit or miss for me, however, the draw of a beat-em-up is obvious and it delivers on that end. The gameplay is competent and runs swiftly. The standouts here are the ways that expressive animations shine through while you're kicking tail, and the ability to pummel enemies who are down. The moveset of your characters is pretty standard. You've got light, heavy, back attacks, 2 special attacks, and the ability to switch in and out of characters. Despite this, I think Zero leaves something to be desired, both in gameplay and in the way I played. On the gameplay end, I had a couple points of frustration. One is that Kunio and Riki are certainly the characters that you were intended to play as, and while that makes sense considering the game's history, the River City Girls name made me expect more River City Girls. Now, while the motion is fluid when you're moving around and fighting, spacing to attack and hitboxes can feel specific and janky at times. Now, I tend to play games solo, this one too, but in the experience I've had with beat-em-ups, they're meant to be played in duos or groups. Think Castle Crashers, or the classic Simpsons arcade game. Those ones are meant for you to gather around a screen and then talk smack to each other when someone messes up or strays away from the objective. That's the feeling that River City Girls Zero gives me, and on that end, it never tries to sell you the idea that it's more than that. It takes what's there and freshens it up through new eyes. Furthermore, this game gives you 2 characters that each get their own swappable character. There's Kunio and his girlfriend Misako, and Riki and his girlfriend Kyoko. These are characters that are meant to be played by a player 1 and a player 2. This is driven home by the fact that bosses are damage sponges that make continuation a struggle. As for the things I was left wanting on, I have a strong inclination I'll get those out of the first River City Girls and the upcoming sequel. With gameplay out of the way, I think it's time we covered graphics and sound. So, the soundtrack gets the job done, retro beats to pummel baddies to, and the sound effects in arcade style were all neat. What I think shines through the most about the game, though, is the pixel art and dialogue. On screen, the 16-bit visuals sing, not just within gameplay, but especially so within the in-engine cutscenes. There's just something to love about an aesthetic that's so clearly inspired by and inspires 80s and 90s anime and manga. And WayForward makes sure you know that they've done their homework. Not only is there that brand spanking new hyper-stylized anime opening that you kick off with, but the intro and ending of the game that establish that you're using a virtual console are made in fully voiced, semi-animated manga panels that add this air of fun. This brings up a consistent feeling that I had throughout the experience of River City Girls Zero. I had my most fun with the cutscenes and art of this game. As a localized version of a 90s delinquent anime genre game from Japan, you can tell that there are aspects that feel either cliched or dated. But as a nerd, I personally feel this is where the game gets the most interesting. There's lines like, "In here, I'm the law," and concepts like 2 bros bare-knuckled fighting and beating a fully armed mob boss in the middle of a burning building. These are things that only feel like they could have come out of a game like this, and there's an extra layer of novelty added to the fact that this is WayForward's own localization of this game, and you have the option to switch to the original to see the differences in the text. Some of it makes it pretty evident why a new localization may have been necessary, but some of it is just a delight to see. Perfect 90s schlock. Something I really appreciated about the game in general was the cheat code menu. A feature that was there originally that still proves its usefulness today. I was not great at getting through parts of this game, especially when it came to bosses. So, The moment I became frustrated, I used the cheating system like it owed me money, and in return, it let me see the rest of the pretty art and fun dialogue. You can tell that they didn't skimp out when it came to bringing this port back to life. There's a CRT filter that I threw on while playing, and an image gallery where you can look at scans of the manual that the original game came with. As someone who thinks preservation is important and an enjoyer of pulpy decade genre fare, this game had plenty to offer.